Welcome to New York's number two sports show. The Rangers lose 5-0 to the New Jersey Devils. An absolutely embarrassing performance from the Rangers. And they are now 16, 17-1. So below 500 for the first time since the very beginning of the 2021-2022 season. Gerard Gallant's first season as Rangers head coach, where they lost the opening game and then they lost the next one in overtime. And then they won game 3. So by the third game of that season, they were already at 500. So that's how long it's been. They are 4-13 in their last 17 games. They only put up 12 shots on goal in this entire game. 12, which is just hard to even imagine. And Chris Kreider was a healthy scratch. So that is, of course, big news. The fact that they went to the extent to scratch him. And look, I think that it was deserved. I understand that they played like absolute shit in this game. And, it just doesn't matter. The thing is, it doesn't matter. And look, to me, like Zibanejad, he should be the next one that's scratched. And he actually he was on the first power play unit in certain situations, but he essentially was demoted. I never saw him on the second unit. There was a lot of penalties and different situations that made it a little bit tough to tell the exact role. But I think that what they did is it was Lafreniere and Cooley basically taking Zibanejad and Kreider's spots on that first power play unit. But it still goes far beyond that. This is as bad as I can remember it being, and there's not a whole lot of hope. There just isn't. And yeah, like you can fire Laviolette, and I think that's like within reason. It's not going to change anything. I really don't think it's going to do anything for you. And I think Chris Drury, he should be on the hot seat. I don't get the sense that he is, but people in that Rangers front office are not happy with what's going on right now. It's truly pathetic all the way around. And for them to have dropped off as quickly as they did, I mean, this is a team that was 2 wins away. Really, even I know that doesn't even do it justice, but they were 2 wins away from reaching the Stanley Cup final. Won the President's Trophy last year. This has been a good team the last few years. Now, there's been some underlying things that aren't great with the team, but despite the fact that it was very misleading, they get up to a 12-4-1 start to the season. And for it to go like this is just insane. And I have, again, no confidence that they are going to turn this around this year. No way. With the schedule that's coming up, with the way things are, changes are coming. I mean, changes have already been happening, and they're only going to continue. So, just don't be surprised when they come out of the break or soon thereafter if, people are being traded out. And to me, I would be in sell mode as much as you possibly can be. And I have a bad feeling that Drury is not necessarily looking at it that way, that he's going to try to, make a big change, but not necessarily as sellers. I think that's the direction you got to take here. I mean, the chances of the Rangers making the playoffs at this point, A, from a mathematical standpoint, and B, just the way it looks, really, really slim. So I think you got to put your best foot forward and try to do what's right for the future. Problem is, Rangers don't have that many pieces to sell off. There's some, not that many. So, I mean, things just feel very bleak right now. And it's one thing to not, I don't think the team is simply all that good personally, but it's the combination of that and also there's just not a whole lot of heart right now, not a whole lot of passion and purpose with this team. That's what, it makes these games really hard to watch. I can't remember games being like this. You kind of know, like I said, once they're trailing, it's over. I mean, seriously. And you know what? I'll give them a little bit of credit. I feel like their starts have been better lately, and then it more so kind of drops off as the game goes on. Whereas, there was a while where they were getting off the slow starts. I thought that the first period they were engaged, but they never got any. I mean, Jacob Markstrom, that was the easiest shutout you will ever see. And for the Devils to strut around and just own that game, owned it physically. I mean, everything. That's bad. I mean, that's one of your biggest rivals, and they just took it to the Rangers. It was easy. So, I don't know what else to say, but I just think that they go into the break really, really in bad shape. And Obviously, the Kreider healthy scratch, that's a big, big topic of conversation. I mean, he probably has not been healthy scratch. I can't remember the last time, long time ago. I mean, I got to think maybe the 13-14 season, right around there, would probably have been the last time. It's been, again, really like probably about a decade ago, give or take. Um, and he wasn't doing what he needed to do. And it's interesting. Like Laviolette, he was kind of stone cold in the post game press conference. He was, I mean, like he didn't really um, try to defend Kreider at all. You know what I mean? Like he was pretty honest about it as much as he could be. So look, barring a trade happening out of the break, I'd expect Kreider to be in their next game. But hey, at least there's accountability. I mean, I'll give him that as far as like, because where it seemed like, okay, like Kako would take the fall, Zach Jones would take the fall. Okay, now you're talking, right? Because I had been asking, hey, like, where is, the loss of ice time for Kreider is managed? All right, well, now we are seeing it. It doesn't change the fact this team is still in major trouble, but at least they're showing that it doesn't matter who you are going to lose time if you're not playing well. And simply put, Chris Kreider has not been playing well, and he's not alone. He's not alone at all. If we were to go through it, just so much disappointment on this team. Let me try to give a little bit of a business. We're not going to talk much about this game because it was just, there's not a whole lot to say. But thoughts that I have, as I'm, sort of looking at certain players. Artemi Panarin, for me, if I would definitely think about trading him. It like in my mind again is in full sell mode. Panarin only has one more year left on his deal. It'd be one thing, all right, like if Panarin, like if there was a lot of years left and you felt like he would age well and and you could kind of turn it back around, but like with the way the contract is, and this is someone that still has, a lot of value. I'm not going to necessarily say because that contract is huge, but even still, Panarin's still one of the most talented players in the game, and there would be interest in him. That's something that I would definitely consider doing. Alexis Lafreniere, wow. Has he been disappointing or what? Probably one of the most disappointing players on the roster, honestly. For someone who it looked like turned a corner, no, not at all. Like, this is someone, he got a nice contract extension for 7 years, and I felt like, that could turn out being really good. I thought that there was a lot of, I felt like he might outgrow that contract where I was like, all right, like, you took a chance on it. He's been absolutely awful, Lafreniere. Really, really concerning. Vincent Trocheck, look, he hasn't had a great season, but at least with him, like you can tell that he cares and that he wants it. So I'm not like down on Trocheck. Yeah, like Will Cooley again is one of the bright spots for sure. Filipino's been quiet lately. Riley Smith, whatever. Another like Riley Smith, you end up giving up, some decent assets for, and that's going to be a dud. And hopefully you can, trade him by the deadline. Zibanejad, total joke, total joke. And really, probably the most concerning contract on the team is Mika Zibanejad's 5 more seasons after this one. I don't know what they're going to do because it's untradeable. Like, even if you want, like, he has a no movement clause, but even if you wanted to, like, you're not in a position of power at all. Defensively, I mean, Will Borgen, like, come on. That's nothing. That is nothing at all. Like, again, hopefully that they can trade him at the deadline. Back at 9 and whatever. Adam Fox just it has not been as good as we've been accustomed to. And Ryan Lindgren, heart and soul guy, appreciate what he's done, but he's on the outs as well. So, yeah, just not good up and down this lineup. Jonathan Quick was in net, and I kind of felt like, Igor maybe would get the start. But you know what? After the way this went down, might as well be Quick. Wouldn't have mattered. And Jonathan Quick, he did the best he could. I mean, I felt like the first goal was not really a good one allowed by Quick, but other than that, he was just hung out to dry and really had no chance. So I guess let's get into it. Zach Jones was in for Chad Rueda, which I suspected may happen. So it was Jones with Schneider and Vakanainen with Borgen. As far as some of the ice times, Braden Schneider did not play much in this game. And a lot of that, he didn't play like for a large portion of the second half of the second period. I don't know what that was. I don't know if that was performance related or if there was something going on there. He's not hurt, but it definitely jumps out. I mean, he played less than 13 minutes, by far the least among the defensemen. So maybe much to do with nothing, or maybe there's something more to that. But yeah, as far as the forwards, as far as anything that jumps at ice time, again, Mika's ice time just in general is not as much as it was like about 15 minutes, which is not as much as it had been. A lot. I mean, I feel like for a while there, Panarin, Lafreniere, and Trocheck, they were really, using that line a lot, and really nothing was coming of it. Will Cooley is someone that is being depended upon a lot. Like his ice time is increasing pretty rapidly to the point where he almost played 16 minutes. Yeah, they kind of rolled the four lines, and it kind of makes sense in a game like this in a blowout situation. You know what sucks also? The game I went to at Madison Square Garden, which was Jacob Trouba's last game on December 2nd, so literally 3 weeks ago, Rangers lost 5-1, and now you lose 5-0 to New Jersey. Like, these are the types of games where changes do happen, like where you don't get shocked when someone is fired. Like, and, Jim Dolan has been one to definitely do things hastily and kind of letting his emotions maybe get to him for better or worse. So you don't know what may or may not happen, because again, like I can't, I'm trying to think about what is going on in the locker room, again, in the front office. Like, it's gotta be a dark, dark time, at Madison Square Garden for this team. So Rangers coming off of a back-to-back, a game that they really could have won versus Carolina. They played, they didn't play particularly well, but I mean, it came down to the end. This was completely different. Devils had this pretty much the whole way. But it was feisty pretty much all the way around. But it starts out with a fight at 3:55. Vincent Trocheck fights Paul Cotter. And it's not what you want in terms of, Rangers losing Trocheck compared to the Devils losing Cotter. So it's kind of a disadvantage that way. But I respect Trocheck trying to get the boys going a little bit. But it didn't work out for him, where because of the way it works out, like, you have to stay into the box beyond the 5 minutes of the fighting major. And then there's a play stoppage. It happened to be that there wasn't a play stoppage for a long time. So even though the penalty was at 3:55, and so normally, you get out of the box hopefully around maybe like the 10-minute mark. It ended up not being until like maybe 4 minutes left in the period that those guys left the box. So no Vincent Trocheck for all that time. And the Devils would take a 1-0 lead at 4:29. It's Jack Hughes scoring his 14th goal of the season from Bratt and Hamilton. And Jack Hughes symbolizes a lot of pain for Ranger fans. Jack Hughes destroys the Rangers basically every time he plays them. And just with that draft, the fact that the Devils won the lottery and they landed on Jack Hughes, number one, and the Rangers got Kakko, I mean, that you couldn't get more of a massive difference. And then the Rangers next year get Lafreniere. And as we've seen, that has had many, many struggles. So that's where, like, it's a combination of bad luck and blame, because you are who you are as a player. Simply put, Jack Hughes is better. Way better than Kaapo Kakko. And obviously Hughes is number one, but even comparing Hughes to Lafreniere, look, I think Lafreniere's ceiling is high, but he's not Jack Hughes. And so obviously that is a tough thing to swallow because of the ramifications that it has, not only previously, but for years to come. So this was a play where Devils go into the Rangers zone. Sam Carrick turns it over in the neutral. Sam Carrick turns it over in the neutral zone. It's a pass from Jesper Bratt to Hughes. And I think it deflects off of Will Borgen's stick and pass Quick. This is one that Quick should have stopped. Definitely a stoppable puck, but again, it did deflect off of Borgen, and that makes it 1-0 New Jersey. Then from there, there was a fight. No, not a fight. At 5:14, Stefan Nason hooks Mika Zibanejad. And then there's roughing minors to Meyer and Panarin. So you lose Panarin on the power play. Also, like, they could have given Meyer a penalty as well. Like, he kind of cross-checked Panarin pretty hard. But good for Panarin for sticking up for himself. But yeah, so at 5:14, Ranger power play. But again, with no Artemi on it, it was, and no Trocheck as well. Not good. So the Rangers don't score there. Then in 1908, Sam Carrick fights Brendan Dillon. So, again, when these two teams get together, you're going to get that. And so after one, the Devils are up 1-0. But I told you the record when the Rangers are trailing after one period. I think that their record is somewhere like around maybe 1-11, something like that, give or take. So Devils take a 1-0 lead into the second period. And what I didn't even bring up yet, I'm about to a little bit, and I should have, honestly, sooner. First off, at the 25-second mark, it's Dawson Mercer cross-checking Vakanainen. Ranger power play doesn't do anything. At 2:41, too many men on the ice. And it's something that we've seen a lot lately, and we saw it twice in the same period. This would be the first of too many men on the ice penalties, and both of them lead to Devil goals. That is unacceptable all the way around. I mean, how do you allow that to happen? It's mental mistakes, and it's just not – the operation just feels completely off right now behind the bench as well. So to me, look, that falls on Laviolette and the coaching staff too. Blame goes everywhere. So the Devils have that power play, and you know what sucks about it is it's right at the end of these power plays. Yesterday as well with Carolina, it's at the end that the other team scores. And here it's Timo Meier, his 13th goal of the season from Mercer and Palat at 4:41. And this is one where they kind of work it around the boards, behind the net. Jimmy Vesey was on the penalty kill, which, he hasn't as much lately. But it was way too easy to pass it across to Meier. And, again, Lindgren just didn't defend that very well in front of the net. He was kind of turned the wrong way and nothing that Quick could do about it. A very good pass, again, from Mercer to Meier to make it 2-0. Can't take it too many men on the ice penalty. 6:07, again, a little bit more fisticuffs where the Rangers end up with a power play. Kovacevic is called for roughing Lafreniere. Lafreniere and Siegenthaler were going at it a lot in this game. So they have matching minors. So again, on this power play, no Lafreniere. That's why it was always tough to tell with the Zibanejad thing, because the first one, there was no Trocheck and Panarin. This one, there was no Lafreniere. You didn't have some of your more normal crew. Rangers don't score on this power play. Then at 9:15, matching minors to Brett Berard and Dougie Hamilton. And then a too many men on the ice penalty at 10:23. So this is a situation where 5 men were on the ice when it should have just been 4. And now it's 4-on-3 for the Devils. And the thing is, the Devils have a lethal power play. You do not want to go up against them, and they take advantage. And it's another goal by Jack Hughes, the second goal of the game, 15th of the season from Luke Hughes, his brother, and Jesper Bratt at 11:13. So this was one where the Rangers, I think we're hoping for a change, weren't able to get it, and so it's just some quick passing and too easy. And Lindgren was on the ice for this one as well as Borgen and Zibanejad. And it would be, Borgen, again, might have gotten a piece of this one as well, closer to Quick. I'm not quite sure, but it was still too good of a look for Hughes, and Quick is going from side to side, and it makes it 3-0 Devils right there. As far as the rest of the period goes, ironically, the Devils took a too many men on the ice penalty at 16:28, but Rangers don't score on that one. So at the end of 2 periods, the Devils are up 3-0. The shots on goal at this point are 18-9 going into the third. And the Rangers, they show no fight. I mean, I'm telling you, that in the third periods, they're done. That Blue game, I guess, was a game where they were down 3-0 and made it 3-2, made it interesting. But typically speaking, it's just, it's over. It is they're defeated. This is not a great team as presently constituted, but it's there's no will. So they get outshot 11-3 in the third, and they were the team that was down 3-0. So at the 8-minute mark, Stefan Noesen scores his 16th goal of the year. That's, wow, 16 goals for Noesen. I did not realize that. Assisted by Hischier and Meier. So Noesen was most recent in Carolina, but had been on the Devils before that. So a really good pickup for them. And this is one where the Panarin line was on the ice for the Rangers. They turn it over in the Devils zone, and they bring it in. Timo Meier finds Nico Hischier, and then it's an open Stefan Noesen. So, and again, it's another goal where I see Ryan Lindgren on the ice for. So a bit of a rough game for him. So that makes it 4-0 and very easy goal for them. Then at 11:46, Alexi Lafreniere slashes Siegenthaler. I mean, I don't know what to say. Rangers, they don't kill that off. The Devils score their third power play goal. Dawson Mercer scores his 8th goal from Jack Hughes and Luke Hughes. And just too easy in front. um, where it's Jack Hughes finding Mercer wide open. I'm not sure where Vakanainen and Morgan were, but Mercer basically just whacked away. He ends up batting it in on like 2 rebounds. Just soft coverage right there. It makes it 5-0 New Jersey. And there would be another Ranger penalty at 15:54. Artemi Panarin slashes Tomas Tatar. Rangers kill it off, but Devils win at 5-0. Again, 12 shots on goal for the Rangers. Just abysmal. And so now they will head into the break not feeling good about themselves, and they'll go to Florida to take on Tampa and the Florida Panthers. So a Saturday night game against the Lightning, a Monday night game against the Panthers. Those will be the last 2 games of the calendar year in 2024. And yeah, just not good. And I don't think things are going to get much better. To me, the more interesting things are like what's happening off the ice, like Chris Kreider getting healthy scratch. Like that is kind of, again, it's like being a Giant fan where, again, it's like the stuff that's happening in the games just aren't really that interesting when your team is this bad. And, it's what are going to be the changes of the roster? What are people being fired? Like that's kind of where you're at right now. And so now until the deadline, which is, sometime in March, I think, early March, who's going to be traded away? And I think that this may have a somewhat similar feel to like the 2018 or 2019 trade deadlines. At least I'm hoping so. I really, not to say that the Rangers are necessarily going to take advantage of the draft picks or the cap space or whatever comes or prospects that they may or may not get. But I just think that you need to reset things here because it's just too far gone at this point. And as much as I don't think Laviolette being fired is going to change anything, I don't think he's going to be the Ranger head coach much longer. What I mean by that is, yeah, like at most he would survive this season. But as far as next year's head coach, I don't. Right now, if you had to ask me, I'd be pretty surprised if it's him. But yeah, Rangers lose 5-0 to the Devils. Chris Kreider's a healthy scratch. 12 shots on goal, 4-13. You've heard it all. It's a problem, but Rangers will head in the break and hope to somehow turn things around. Coming out of the break, they will take on the Tampa Bay Lightning.